Welcome back to No Fear Public Speaking. I'm Abraham Lavoie, your instructor, and in today's session, we're going to continue with the second P in our 3P system for No Fear Public Speaking. So first of all was perspective. And we did that in an earlier session where we talked about the perspective that we have when we're approaching public speaking. Now we're in the preparation segment where we're going to talk about how to prepare and then actually prepare some notes and outlines for a public talk. So in this session, this is very critical because this is one thing that will distinguish a mediocre or even a bad talk from a great talk right from the start. And here it is. Great talks have a very clear objective that is clearly defined in perhaps one sentence that can direct you as the speaker while you're preparing and while you're writing your notes, and is something that the audience could easily walk away from your talk saying, I know exactly what I was supposed to take away from this talk. So in writing, perhaps you remember back in school when you were writing papers or stories, it was always necessary to have a thesis statement. This is a one sentence, in most cases, statement of exactly what you're trying to get across. I am trying to tell you about this particular person if you're giving a biographical speech, or in this talk, you're going to learn this and this and this. So there's a couple of reasons that you need to do this first and foremost. Number one, it's going to guide you as you prepare your notes, because when you're starting to research a topic that you're going to give a talk on, you're going to find and gather perhaps dozens of facts and examples and stories and tidbits of information that you are then going to have to evaluate. Do I put this in my talk, and where do I put it in? When you have a clear statement of objective, you're going to be able to very easily, as you go through these facts that you're researching, say to yourself, well, this is a fact about the topic I'm speaking on, but it doesn't fit within my objective. And on the other hand, this is a fact that supports and undergirds and emphasizes and gives examples of the talk that I'm giving, the objective, and so it falls within that realm of information that is necessary in my speech. So number one, write down an objective. Write it down, and seldom, but occasionally, this will change as you're developing your talk. You may end up thinking that you're going one direction, but the more you research, the more you find information, you may say, I'm gonna shift it a little bit, and that's okay. But you got to have a starting point. And the starting point for a successful no fear public talk is a clear objective. So write this prominently in your scratch notes. I say scratch notes. What does that mean? Well, I prepare all of my notes in a Word or Google document, and I'm going to share with you a template for that and also show that to you in one of the next sessions. But before I actually begin that document, I'm just going to take maybe handwritten on a legal pad or in a journal, or maybe type it out on a blank document, just some thoughts, just brainstorming about what I'm going to say, and then I'll arrange it into my final note structure a little bit later. So scratch notes is the thing that you should start with, and that's a legal pad or a journal or just a piece of paper where you're just going to start sketching out things that you want to cover in your talk. And so the first thing that you should write down is your objective statement. Write it at the top, put a box around it, highlight it if you have to. This should be one sentence describing what you want to accomplish with your talk, what you want the audience to walk away from your talk knowing. This is going to keep you focused. It's going to permit you to filter the facts and points, as I mentioned, to make sure that they contribute to your objective and not are ancillary or even detract from it. It's going to guide you in the arrangement of your facts and your points, and it's going to remind you to deliver the facts not just to deliver the facts, but deliver the facts to support your objective. So this is the first that I'm going to mention to you, the talk that I'm going to give at the end of this course. I mentioned in the introduction and in the course overview that throughout the course, we're going to together research and write a talk that I'm going to then give in the last session so that you can see the process from start to finish. And so, as I mentioned before, I'm a singer and a guitar player and acoustic performer, and I'm also a songwriter and an instructor in guitar and songwriting. And so I have this fascination with songs and with songwriting. And so I'm going to write and research and compose the notes for, and then deliver at the end of this course this talk, the formula for writing a hit song. Yeah, the formula for writing a hit song. And so my objective statement is going to be this. I will demonstrate with analysis and examples that there is a formula for writing a hit song. Now, I hope that caught your attention. Maybe you don't care anything about music, but at the very least, it should pique your interest that there's only a few, relatively few hit songs out of all the tens of thousands, maybe millions of songs that are written. Only a few make it to the status of a hit. But the truth is, there is a formula that nearly every hit song over the last 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 years has followed for the most part. And so my objective statement is I'm going to demonstrate with analysis and examples that there is a formula for writing a hit song. So here's what you need to do between now and the next session, and that is write down an objective statement, maybe 2 or 3, for things that you're thinking about speaking on in the future, or maybe you're watching this course because in 2 weeks you've got to give a speech and you're hurriedly trying to get the fear out and get ready. So whatever the case may be, something you'd like to speak about or something that you're going to have to speak about, write down an objective statement, write it prominently in your scratch notes, and get ready. Because, again, as I mentioned, one of the primary elements that distinguishes a mediocre public talk from a great one is adherence to an objective throughout the whole talk. So write down your objective statement, and then we'll get started in the next session on preparing our No Fear public talk.